We are diving deep today into one of the most provocative ideas in the world of productivity right now.
Mm,
It's this concept that the real sign of wealth isn't a full calendar. It's actually a beautifully empty one.
right. It completely flips the script on what we think of as success.
It really does. We've pulled together a whole stack of sources, and they all challenge this modern obsession with, constant output, always being busy.
Yeah.
And the main idea is both. Well, it's really counterintuitive. It's that shutting down your laptop mid-afternoon to just sit in silence.
Something that we would have called, pure laziness just a few years ago.
Exactly. That is now being framed as the ultimate, most exclusive luxury.
And that shift in perspective is exactly why we need to get into this. Our mission here is to unpack how modern life is it's designed to profit from our attention.
It really is.
The whole system, social media, email, notifications, it rewards you for being always on.
And we wear that busyness like a badge of honor, don't we?
We do. So the real question we want to tackle, the one these sources wrestle with, is this. Does being completely optimized lead to the best life possible?
Or does it just lead to the busiest life possible?
Precisely.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because I think most of us can look back on weeks where we were just swamped and, realize that all that effort,
Yeah.
it didn't really translate.
You were just running on a treadmill. Lots of movement, but no forward progress.
Exactly. And that's the hidden cost of this always-on mentality. We're conditioned to think that any movement equals progress.
Mm.
And you see it everywhere. I mean, look at the productivity gurus on social media.
Oh, yeah. The 4:30 a.m. wake-ups, the ice baths.
The scheduling of every single minute. Now, to be fair, one of our source authors admits he's often up writing at like 5:18 in the morning. So it's not the early start that's the problem.
It's not about the discipline itself, no. It's the motive behind that constant push. Our sources really dig into the gap between feeling productive
Right. Feeling important.
and actually producing work that is genuinely meaningful. The author talks about a time when his own calendar was just a wall of blocked out time. He felt essential, but looking back, he realized it was mostly just busy work.
Okay, and this is where the sources get really interesting. They share this anecdote about a tech founder that it lays the whole problem bare.
It's such a powerful story. So the scene is a casual dinner, and this founder who's making around $800,000 a year,
So by all conventional metrics, a huge success.
a huge success. He admits something staggering. He says, and I'm quoting here, "I can't remember the last time I had a moment for an original thought."
Wow. Just let that sink in for a second. Someone at the peak of financial success admitting their brain is just too cluttered for creativity.
And the author saw it happening in real time, right there at the dinner table.
How so?
While he's having this conversation, this founder has two phones lighting up on the table, an Apple Watch buzzing on his wrist. He was physically there, but his attention was just constantly being pulled away.
He's multitasking, but not really thinking.
Exactly. He was never really thinking. His high-income busyness was actively destroying his ability to have high-level valuable insights.
And that's the hidden cost, isn't it? The erosion of that space you need for deep reflection. If you're always just reacting to emails, to Slack messages, you never get to be proactive.
You never get to play offense, mentally.
Now, for most people listening, that $800,000 figure might feel, a bit abstract.
Sure.
But that feeling of being tethered to your phone, of a notification ruining a moment with your family, that's universal. We're sacrificing our peace of mind.
Precisely. Which is why we have to pivot the definition of success. If that founder's life is the result of the hustle, what should we actually be chasing?
So if we're moving away from the hustle, what does real success look like? The sources are pretty clear that it's not what we think. The truly successful people aren't the ones posting screenshots of their 80-hour work weeks.
No. We celebrate that grind, but the actual habits of top performers suggest the complete opposite is true. True success is defined by creating and fiercely protecting space for deep thinking.
And for rest.
And for genuine rest. They aren't just working harder, they're working smarter by valuing their downtime.
So, for example, the sources point out that a lot of really influential entrepreneurs read for like 3 or 4 hours a day, or they take those think weeks.
Right, the think weeks. But let's be realistic here. A think week sounds incredible, but it's a fantasy for most people with a 9-to-5 job.
That's a really important point. If the solution is just quit your job and go to a cabin, then it's not a real solution. So how do we translate that idea into, say, a think hour?
It all comes down to redefining wealth. We have to stop equating it with just stuff.
The fancy cars, the penthouses.
Exactly. The real definition of wealth, of true luxury, is freedom. It's clarity. It's having the intention and the autonomy to direct your own focus.
That's so important because money can buy you a nice watch, but it cannot buy you a clear mind. And the sources break this new kind of luxury down into 4 specific elements.
Okay, let's get into them. The first, and maybe the most important, is the ability to think uninterrupted.
It's about actively creating that space for deep work.
Right.
Not just avoiding distractions, but carving out time.
Yeah, if your brain is always on defense, just responding to things, it never gets to create anything new.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, so number 2 is the freedom to sleep without an alarm.
Which sounds so simple, but we've basically trained ourselves to ignore our own biology every single day. The luxury is letting your body wake up when it's actually rested.
And number 3 is the ability to move at your own pace, rejecting what they call unnecessary urgency.
That pressure to answer an email in 5 minutes, most of the time it's completely manufactured. It's not actually critical.
It's not, and that leads to the last one, number 4. The ability to live without constant noise.
Consciously choosing a quiet mind over all the chaos. The default setting for our world is noise. The luxury is finding silence.
So if money can't buy these 4 freedoms, then we have to earn them.
Through our choices, yeah. And that raises the big question. How do we actually do that? How do we start saying no to things that seem important, but are actually just stealing these freedoms from us?
And that brings us to the most actionable part of this deep dive. For you, the listener, this is where we get practical. The core strategy is simple. Start treating your attention like the precious, finite resource it is.
You have to build systems, really stringent systems to protect it.
So let's detail these systems because they're pretty extreme. The first one is about the phone.
It's definitely the most shocking one. The author's system is to keep his phone on Do Not Disturb, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Wait, 24/7, that sounds completely impossible if you're running a business.
Well, it's not because of the systems, but it is incredibly strict. The only 2 people who can break through that D&D setting are his wife and his mother. Everyone else, voicemail.
That's an incredible level of discipline. But okay, for the listener who has, legitimate work emergencies, what's the 10% version of that they could try?
The sources suggest just focusing on your most valuable hours. Maybe you can't do 24/7, but you could do a sacred Do Not Disturb from, say, 9 a.m. to noon. The key is just to define the boundary and stick to it. People actually respect boundaries when you lay them out clearly.
Okay, that's a practical start. The second strategy is about scheduling that deep, distraction-free time. This is the think hour we were talking about.
Exactly. The author schedules 1 non-negotiable hour of thinking time every single week.
Yeah.
And here's the key part. It's just him, a pencil, and a notebook.
No devices.
No devices, no internet. An hour of pure, quiet thought. That's where the original ideas can actually surface.
And beyond these personal rules, they also use tech boundaries, right? Like autoresponders.
Yeah, an autoresponder on most social media channels, which takes the pressure off him to reply to every single message personally.
And he's just as strict with requests for advice.
Oh, absolutely. He says no to 100% of brain pick requests. His mental space is not for sale, essentially. The autoresponder just directs people to his existing content, his podcasts, articles, products.
It's a system for managing scale without going insane. You control the flow of information instead of just reacting to it all day.
But here's the part that really blew my mind. The sources are so clear about the outcome of all these boundaries. His business didn't suffer.
It didn't just not suffer, it thrived.
It thrived. They state that these habits, this clear thinking, led directly to huge financial success.
This is the proof, isn't it? Because you'd think this is a luxury you earn after you're successful, not a strategy to get there.
But he attributes the growth directly to the boundaries. He grew his audience to 1.5 million people, his business to $12 million, all with these insane 90% profit margins. And he says it's because better decisions lead to better outcomes. He proved that working less, or at least being less available, doesn't reduce success. It enhances it.
And underlying all of this is the protection of sleep. He's in bed by 9:3, and the phone stays out of the bedroom. It's the ultimate non-negotiable.
And if you connect all these dots, the big picture becomes really clear. The modern world is engineered to steal your attention and fill your calendar. And if you just go along with it,
You risk getting to the end of your life and realizing you missed what mattered.
and that you lost the ability to think for yourself.
So what does this all mean for you? It means that the ability to resist that pressure, to intentionally create space for what matters. That's the realest luxury there is. You don't need anyone's permission to slow down.
And you definitely don't need to apologize for being distraction-free. That choice is an act of rebellion.
So, in a world that is just constantly trying to distract you, the most rebellious, most luxurious thing you can do is shut down the noise.
So consider this for your week ahead. What's one unnecessary urgency you can reject? Can you set your phone to Do Not Disturb for just 2 hours? Can you block out 1 hour for just a pencil and paper? Reclaim that space.
Because that is where your best work and your best life will come from.